Welcome to a solo episode of the Ability Talks podcast with Elizabeth Patterson. As you know, I'm Elizabeth Patterson, your host. In this episode, I'll be reading excerpts from my book, My Life After Death, which, as at this point, as we all know, is my memoir, is my life story. And I will read portions to entice you to hopefully go grab the book for yourself. And then I'll give some context as to what was going on when I wrote that portion, or I will just be explaining certain points, highlights from the portion. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you on this journey with me once again. Thank you. All right, so we'll start with a portion from the prologue. I say, but this is more than just my story. It's a testament to the power of education, the strength of the human spirit, and the ripple effect that one person's determination can have on an entire community. It's about the girls whose lives have been transformed, the barriers that have been broken, and the dreams that have taken flight. As you turn these pages, prepare to be challenged, inspired, and perhaps even changed. For in the end, this is not just a story about overcoming disability. It's about discovering ability in ourselves and in others where we least expect to find it. Welcome to my journey of redefinition. Welcome to a world where limitations are just illusions waiting to be shattered. All right, so just a bit of context. For my entire life, I was born not as a disabled person, whatever that means. To me, disability is a spectrum. All of us can be affected at any point. But fortunately and unfortunately, I was born as a person with full capabilities, all limbs intact, everything functioning. But then 22 years ago, on that fateful day, on April 4th, 2003, my life just changed. Everything shattered. My dreams of learning to drive, my dreams of pursuing higher education. I just finished writing the SATs, which is the standardized, I think, aptitude test. I may have that wrong, but the SATs, the entrance exam to get into universities in the US. And then everything changed. I was in a boarding school in the US. Myself and a few of my friends were traveling to go celebrate. This is just what I've been told, to go celebrate one of my friends, one of my track mates' birthdays. And so it was a festive moment. We had just come back from Easter break, and we were about to go out to celebrate my friend Kate's birthday. And so the rest of it is convoluted in my head. I don't have any context as to how the accident happened and anything surrounding it, but I've been told things that have been pieced together for me. There was something happened where the person who was driving, who happened to be one of our teachers, swerved off the road, and then everybody got ejected out of the vehicle except for me. And then unfortunately, the vehicle fell on top of my upper body, crushing my head, leaving my skull fractured, and then as a result have given me something that they called a traumatic brain injury, or TBI, which resulted in a stroke. As you can tell, I really express myself a lot with my hands, and that's something that has carried over from before the accident. And if I had use of both hands, the arms will be all over the place. So maybe it's a good thing, but I still express myself a lot with my one hand because I don't have use of my left arm. It has passive mobility. If I'm laying down, I could lift it up and do all kinds of things, but actively, when gravity is on me, I'm not able to move my arm. So The context of this story is just asking you to join me on this journey from the accident, portions of which I don't recall, my recovery, how myself, my family, my friends, people in the community have approached me as a result of the accident. I know people oftentimes say, "Oh, you're so inspirational. You're such an inspiration to me." And as much as I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful that my lived experience has come to be an inspiration for somebody. For me, it's not what I wouldn't say that that's who I am. That's what I'm about. If I live my life as true to myself as possible, and if in that way somebody is inspired, I'm grateful. I hope that the inspiration that people draw from me isn't just about the fact that I'm a person with a disability or limitation, but everything that I am, from being an African girl who immigrated to the US in a middle income family or low income family in the US, and still surviving and being able to go to some of the best institutions here in Ghana and in the US and still thrive and do well with my life. I think that's enough of a source of inspiration then. And the accident is just an additional flavor, to additional seasoning, if you want to say, to who I am. And so I'm so thankful to you all for buying my book and joining me on this journey. So here we go. So the book opens talking about the birth of my son, and the chapter is called A Miracle Birth. And so here we go. Throughout my pregnancy, I kept this precious secret close to my heart, sharing it only with a trusted few people, Andy, my mother, and my sister. I had asked those who saw me to refrain from capturing my image, knowing that the sight of a visibly pregnant woman with disabilities was a rarity in our world. The usual celebrations that come with pregnancy, the photo shoots, the social media announcements, the gender reveal parties had no place in my journey. Instead, I held on to a quiet strength and an unwavering belief that carried me throughout each day. When the moment finally arrived and I held my son in my arms, my mother sat beside me, her phone in hand. With my blessing, she began sharing the news with our family, their voices echoing joy and congratulations through the phone. But amidst the happiness, a question lingered. Why did you keep it from us? Why did you keep it from us? Okay, so I'll pause here and explain. So I don't know, show of hands, who has ever seen a woman with a disability in Ghana with child or pregnant? In the years that I have, from growing up in Ghana, being born here, till age of 10 when I left, and then returning in 2014 till date, in the 11 years since I've lived in Ghana, I interact and I engage with a lot of women, people with disabilities. I could honestly say that I have never seen a woman with a disability visibly pregnant or pregnant. And for me, in as much as I wanted my journey to be private and sacred for me and my family and those who were closest to me, I think psychologically a part of me also did not want the stigmatization, the whispers, the comments, the blah blah blah, anything that I would endure. So for me, it was to preserve my mental health. I think number one, it was to preservation of my mental health, that nobody ever saw me in my 2 pregnancies. Nobody ever saw me, not on social media, not anywhere. There's images of me in our home, in the privacy of my phone, between me and my phone, that people, I still have pictures of me from when I was pregnant, but I just wasn't ready for the stigmatization of people asking me, oh, how did it happen, right? And just the whispers, because I'm sure all of you would agree that there's a lot of stigmatization of people with disabilities here in Ghana and throughout the continent, and maybe even perhaps in the world. So I speak about that in the book, and I really do hope that once you get your copy of the book, you can empathize with me for why I decided to keep this private. All right. I'm an Ashanti woman born and raised in Kumasi, the vibrant capital of the Ashanti region in southern Ghana. The Ashanti people are known for their strong work ethic and industrious nature, which have shaped who I am today. I plan to instill these values in my own children as I navigate the journey of parenthood. When I was just 5 years old, my father made the difficult decision to leave Ghana and work in Holland. He was driven by the desire to provide a better life for our family, and although it wasn't easy for him to leave us behind, we understood the sacrifice he was making. 5 years later, a remarkable twist of fate changed our lives forever. My mother won the U.S. immigration visa lottery, an opportunity that seemed almost too good to be true. With renewed hope, my father returned from Holland, and together we embarked on a new chapter in the United States. We were fortunate to have a comfortable life in Ghana. As the children of two bankers, we were part of the upper middle class. But more than the material comforts, the strength of our family bond truly defined us. Okay, pause. So in this portion of the book, I hint at the relationship between myself and my family. And in as much as the accident, my family truly banded together to support me in my recovery and in my journey, and as any family should, right? I remember my dad, who used to work, I think he worked at the Javits Center in the US. It's a convention center. He used to work double, triple shifts just so he could get Thursdays to Sundays off, and then he would come to where we were from New York to Pennsylvania, about a 3-4 hour drive away, every weekend for an entire year, just so he could be with me throughout this recovery. I was inpatient for 1 whole year because initially I was in a coma, and then as I came out of the coma, I got therapies, and my dad wanted to be present. And to this day, I really do truly appreciate that sacrifice that he made for me, and that tireless sacrifice that he would make consistently every week, working 4 days, like double, triple shifts, and then rushing to come to our site in Philly. And equally appreciative I'm appreciative of is my mother, who at the time when the hospital said, we think you all need to get your daughter a caretaker, like a paid nurse's aide, so they could come and take care of her. I believe my mom said, no, I will quit my job, and nobody else can take care of my daughter the way I can. So she quit her job, and she was in the banking sector in the US. So she quit and devoted full time to my care. Imagine being 18, 19, having your mother bathe you, support you to get around, right? Like, the book talks about all that, how all of that affected me and my growth and my development. If you wanted to date, God forbid at the time, dating was not even something that was on my radar, because if I wanted to go on a date, it means that my mom would have to accompany me to wherever I was going. So it was a no-no. And then to my sister, who we grew up, people thought we were, I'm older, but people thought we were like twins because of her height. People would always identify us with one another. And imagine being called in your school that your sister is in a coma, she may or may not make it. So to my sister, who also, they rushed her from her school to come and spend time with the only sister who she has. And I can only imagine the trauma that they all face. So I'm grateful to my family for being by my side throughout this devastating, I wouldn't say chapter, but like chapter episode in all of our lives. But the section that I read introduced us to my relationship with my dad, and there's a chapter in the book dedicated to how that relationship has transitioned over the years. And so I'm really hopeful that you all will read, and you will get the book and then you'll read it and empathize with my journey. Thank you so much. Okay, no more.
So let's go. If you'd like to see more one-on-one.
Okay, so in this chapter, it's called Love's Lessons. I'm a human being. We all have needs. And even as a person with a disability, I'm sure all of you can relate that there's parts of you that seek companionship and seek, in my case, the opposite gender, the opposite sex. So I've had quite a number of, not quite a number. I've dated before the accident, not so much, and then throughout the accident, I've had, I think, two long-term relationships. So I reflect on that in this chapter. Amidst the intensity of graduate school, I took another leap of independence and rented a studio apartment in Manhattan. This small space soon became my sanctuary. It was a place away from my well-meaning but sometimes stifling care of my family, and where I could fully gain control of my autonomy. During the period of newfound independence, I met Brandon at the Roots Picnic, a hip-hop festival in Philadelphia. Our meeting was serendipitous. He was traveling to the East Coast from Nevada for the concert. Despite the brief encounter, our connection was immediate and intense, and we took a cab together back to NYC and began dating shortly after. The day I met Brandon, I was with my friend Charlene in the park. Initially, I assumed he was interested in Charlene. After all, who would want to talk to me? But throughout the day, Brandon found ways to be near me, and his interest became unmistakable and flattering. Okay, so I just want to pause and say that every single person who I have dated seriously, as like through my recovery, I have reached out and told them that I'm sharing parts of our life in this book, and Brandon being one of them. He's fully committed to having this being out there. So yeah, I met Brandon at a hip-hop concert. I'm a big fan of music, hip-hop being one of them. At the concert, and as I just read, I initially thought he was interested in my friend who I went with, and that probably manifests from my insecurity, thinking, why would an able-bodied person or able-bodied man, right, attractive able-bodied man, be interested in me, right? Like in my mind, it was not a possibility, and I'm sure this is probably some of the insecurities that people with disabilities often box themselves in and think it's not even possible for them, right? But fortunately, Brandon and I had a deep connection. We dated for about 2 years, and unfortunately, because of my decision to move back home and be in Ghana, he wasn't ready to be with me in Ghana. And I was not ready to have a long distance relationship. So the relationship had to end and break. But we are on good terms, as I am with all of the people who I've dated in the past. And so a little snippet, I guess my reflection is, if you're a person with a disability, if a woman with a disability, and you don't think that the sphere of dating, romance, love life is open to you, my experience, I think, has taught me that be open to the possibilities. I have a friend, Sefakor, who also is married and with children with a fully able-bodied man for many, many years. So it is possible, even within this context of Ghana society, where there's so much stigmatization and so much closed-mindedness about what we are capable of as people with disabilities. It is possible for us to find love and enjoy healthy relationships. And so I will leave it at that. If you would like to connect with me more, do you guys like this one-on-one approach? We're thinking that we would host just lives where I would come on Facebook, Instagram, whichever social media that you all want to patronize. I will come on live. We will do a little bit of interaction between you and I, where you could open book. You could ask me anything, everything. Well, maybe not everything, but you could ask me anything about my journey. And then, full disclosure, I'll commit to sharing with you all. But please let us know. Comment on the Ability Talks Facebook page, Instagram, inbox us, let us know if this is something you would like to see more of. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey. Thank you. All right, and cut.